Welcome back. I've got the cylinder head here. I've been just putting a fresh coat of paint on the short block for now and experimenting with the windage tray. But I want to get started on the head. Checked it out. I filled all the runners with fluid to see what was seeping out of the valves. There was very little seepage. They were really well, and the initial compression check before we tore apart the engine kind of showed that they were still in really good shape. But a friend of mine loaned me some lapping compound, and I figure we're doing everything else, we might as well just get it done. So we're going to clean this up and get it done. I'm not going to walk you guys through it because I just spent like 20 minutes watching other people on YouTube learning how to do it because I've never done it. So we're just going to jump right to it.
Removing the valves and valve springs is pretty straightforward. The proper tools make this job a lot easier. I managed to find all of the valve spring retainers that I dropped on the floor during disassembly, so that's a bonus. A punctured piece of cardboard keeps the valves safe and organized during the rebuild. Using the little green miracle wheel, I can give all of the surfaces a really good polish without an abrasive material that will damage all of the mating surfaces. I do my best to clean by hand any and all debris, silicone, and oil off of the head. In light of the current COVID-19 pandemic, it made sense to try and get it as clean as I could with the cleaners I had. A combination of graffiti remover, brake clean, and carb cleaner do a really good job, especially with a little bit of elbow grease. But it's no replacement for a hot tank, that's for sure.
Got the cylinder head and the valves all cleaned up. It's not hot tank cleaned. It's various chemical and cleaner and elbow grease clean, but it'll do the job for us anyways. I've got various compounds of valve grinding compound here. I got some 200 grit, some 320, 600, and 1200. So I guess I'm running 4 passes through every valve. So this was given to me by a friend of mine to use. Wasn't able to get my hand on one of those valve grinding tools, so I borrowed my daughter's toothbrush. Should do the job.
The valve lapping process isn't hard, just time consuming. I start with the most coarse compound and work my way up. It took a bit to figure out the intricacies of the toothbrush, but with great determination and tenacity, I really gave those valves the lap dance.
Holy smokes, this is getting painful. I think we need to spice it up a little bit. That sucked. That took a really, really long time. But it's done. I spent a lot of time trying to do it right, best I could. Going to, once I put the new seals on and the valve springs back in, then I'll fill it up with some fluid and make sure they don't weep anymore. And then we'll go from there. Should be ready to bolt back on at that point.
More cleaner and compressed air are the last thing to do before sliding the pre-oiled valves into the guides.
I don't know if every valve stem seal set is similar. These ones are actually stamped exhaust and intake. I'm not entirely sure exactly what the difference is. They look identical, except one has a gold band around it and one has a silver band. So we'll just make sure we put them in the proper spots.
What I got going on here, this is just a plug. This is a part of the EGR system that was on with the original, I guess, manufacturing of the car, which we don't utilize in a racing situation. This is basically just a tube. This came from the intake. It goes down to one of the exhaust runners and circulates exhaust gases and air back and forth. I don't even know how it works. I don't really care. But this plug was in here. There was really nothing wrong with this hole. The plug was in here, but it sat up out of the gasket the way it was originally in. So all I did was run those threads down a little bit deeper so I can bury this plug and not have it interfere with the gasket or look goofy. Funny story, the first time I built the Chevette, I built an intake for it. Really nice intake. Failed absolutely miserably. But I had shared it on a forum, and somebody was kind enough to point out that I had piped a hose from the water inlet here to the EGR here. I originally thought, not knowing any better, that this was just another water jacket, and so I had plumbed a nice little hose and figured it was going to be awesome and it looked cool. Boy, was I wrong, and boy, was I lucky somebody corrected me before I just completely sunk the brand new engine that I was building. Look at that. Much better. After chasing the threads, I refill all of the runners with solvent to see if the valves have sealed. After cleaning and painting the cam carrier, I'm ready to install the camshaft. I left the cam pulley installed in hopes to retime it easier during reassembly. Again, a thorough clean of the threads and studs are necessary before installing them into the block, and I'll run them all down by hand before cinching them tight. one last wipe before the head gasket goes down. This is it, the home stretch, the final steps, the closing moments before ultimate glory. Installing homemade parts into 1950s tractor engine technology, making it capable of spinning at 8,000 RPM for minutes before potentially sending any tiny parts into the atmosphere. All kidding aside, the most common issue with any high-revving 4-cylinder engine is top-end problems. So take the time to double check everything and properly lube all of the components while installing them.
When I disassembled this thing, I made a mark on the cam gear and on the cam gear cover. I never did take the cam pulley off of the camshaft. So I put these marks here, so I should be able to line those back up. And when the engine's at top dead center, I should be able to just put my belt on. And when I degree the cam in, it should be right where it was when we pulled it all apart. That's my hope anyways.
Tensioning the timing belt is the last real item to cross off the list before declaring this engine assembled.
Just like that, it's an engine. Man, it took a long time to get here. It's together. The engine is together. It rotates through 4 cycles without any interference, nice and smooth, no problems. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's not finished. We still got the bolt-on stuff to do, some dress-up stuff to do. I got a couple new things I want to try out. Probably have to fab up some mounts for, but really, if I was super anxious, another hour I could have this thing together and back in the car, rewired and ready to fire up. Maybe an hour and a half. Anyways, hope you guys are staying safe and looking after yourselves. Maybe things are getting better soon, hopefully. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching. We'll catch you next time.